Newgarden.
What are we doing in here? Out of curiosity.
Just talking.
You're talking to us.
You don't even make up just curious.
We've been trying to figure that out all day.
Well, I asked that every room. What's the program there? You know?
This is the
Clearly.
print online media.
Nice. Nice.
We're off to ask you questions.
What's the most?
So what have you been up to today?
What's the most interesting thing that you guys have heard all day? I'm just curious.
Actually, not from anybody saying it, but an email from Ottawa Ward saying he's no longer.
Oh yeah, good point. I did hear about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He's left the team.
very interesting for sure.
So you don't have any analysis like that, right?
Not today, guys. Actually, now that you've asked,
Here it comes.
to retire from.
You got a couple big days of testing coming up. What are you looking forward to tomorrow, Wednesday, or Thursday, whatever it is?
I'm excited to get going here. I think this is going to be quite a cool event for us. I've heard they're doing well ticket sales wise, which is great. They've had really good crowds for the F1 races. I'm sure you guys have seen. So it seems like there's race fans here, but also a lot of people appear to want to come to this market to watch a race, which is not surprising. Austin's a pretty cool town, so it makes a lot of sense to run a race here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the track. I've never been on it, so it'll be new for me tomorrow and the next day. And got to make sure that we're quick. Is first and foremost for us. We've got to make sure our cars are fast, and then we'll figure out the rest from there. But just going to work on speed to start.
Have you done any sim work? And which sim?
Yeah, I've done sim work on the Chevy sim. We did a little bit of testing. We did a half day. So
Yes, I do.
I don't think we have a super updated file on Coda. I think it's an old scan.
Yeah.
But you still get an idea of where it goes, and I think the elevation was all correct. So yeah, you get kind of an idea. But then it always ends up being a little different in real life. But I should know the gears, should know the corners, and we'll take it from there.
Well, we're anxious to see what the tire does. There are either 2 or 3 patches that were just finished in the past 2 weeks,
Oh, really?
as well as
Of, like,
leveling out
brand new
some
asphalt?
bumps. Leveling out some, yeah, they were gonna surface, like, ground it. But that's one of the things, it doesn't sound like anybody's got any real data on this track, even down to the track surface, except a general layout.
Yeah, probably not. I don't think anyone does. I mean, probably Rossi and Kanan are the only people that have some information on it. They did a test day here, so they'll probably be, I would assume they're gonna be pretty quick to get going. But then after that, I'm sure everyone will find their footing by the afternoon of the first day. Probably even out. But yeah, it's how much, do you know how much pavement they put, like stretch-wise? Is it just a couple corners, or?
It was turn 9-10, section was a bump, turn 18 had an exit bump, which is high side for the MotoGP guys.
So it was more just smoothing out a couple bumps, not.
This was
changing
built
all
on
the
farm
corners.
dirt, and so under the G-forces, especially from the F1 and the LMPs, they would mash a wave into the track.
Oh, yeah. So it was a bit
And it would
weak,
stay.
yeah. Okay.
Joseph, the defending champion, is he different than Joseph, the guy chasing down his first championship?
I don't think so. I mean, we did the same thing last year. We just, we came up short, obviously. We just weren't consistent enough last year, and particularly Scott was very consistent. I wouldn't say he was the strongest across the board, but for consistency, no doubt he was on another level. So, you can have wins and you can have really streaky moments where you've been really quick, but if you don't have that consistency throughout the year, then you're not going to probably challenge for the championship. So that's what we need to be better at. But I don't think I'm that different from a couple of years ago. I think I approached things very similarly. You're always learning, you're always getting better. I do feel like every year you get a bit more prepared. And I think last year we probably weren't as comfortable with the new body kit as we wanted to be. We still have a lot of areas we need to improve on from last year. So it's ever evolving. Not just us, but also our knowledge of the tire and the car as it changes. That every year you're chasing that, and you hope to be on the front end of it, but some years you're just not.
Seeing the videos over the winter, I mean, your rival in TK now is like probably the most jacked dude in the series. How much muscle weight have you put on, and what was the motivation to really, seems like you really amped up to add size.
Well, I try to every year off season because I lose a lot of weight during the year. I lose probably 15 pounds throughout a season, just because you travel so much and for me, I have a pretty high metabolism, and with all the travel, I generally don't get enough food intake, so then I'll just kind of lose size throughout the year. And I've always liked to have good muscle mass on. That's just, I think on an IndyCar you need to have it, and it's a good base, and then you build everything else off of that. You still have to have good cardio. You have to have good muscular endurance, but that strength base has always been really important to me. So every offseason I try and do that.
But it just seems like this year it's really accelerated. I mean, you look physically bigger.
You think so? Oh, yeah, maybe. I mean, I put in a lot of work this offseason, but I did last year too. I mean, I try every year. I try to do the same thing. But yeah, maybe we just took it to the next level, which hopefully helps us a little bit. Yeah.
I have the exact opposite problem this season. I gained
Oh, yeah.
15 pounds.
That's okay. That's all right. We all got to figure out the
Yeah.
program here.
It's just
Bruce.
more.
A week ago Friday night, you're watching Roger get inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. And
Yeah.
to see him go in with that class that he went in with, I'm sure that Jeff Gordon's probably, when you were a kid, somebody that you probably admired to a degree. What was it like being part of that?
Well, it was really cool to see all the respect in the room, for not just those guys that were getting honored specifically, but also I think amongst all the peers, there was a lot of respect there from just racers in general. So that was cool. Thought it was cool that Jeff was so basically jacked that Rick Mears was in the house. He even said it during his speech. He thought it was so cool he was there. Obviously, Rick was there for Roger primarily, but just the mutual respect is what's cool. And I feel like we're getting so much more of that now. Nowadays in motorsports, it kind of went away with, this big divide between the different disciplines. And it was like, who's better or who's, what discipline's more difficult. And I feel like now it's just more about racing again, and everybody respects everybody and we all kind of watch what everyone's doing. So that's what I saw during the night. I thought that was a really cool thing to witness.
And then in true Penske fashion, you go back to the same room basically where the Hall of Fame induction was, and it's the party to celebrate his for the team, and that had to be a pretty big.
Yeah, really cool. I mean, we had pretty much everyone there. I mean, it was not. I mean, it wasn't. I wasn't told it was mandatory necessarily, but everyone showed up. I mean, we had everyone from the team, and it was kind of a big celebration for everybody. Obviously, we were happy for Roger, but Roger's he's so gracious and good. I mean, he relates it back to it's not his induction necessarily, but it's everybody's induction. So it was really special to be a part of that, and just see how he interacts with the group, and you see why he's had so much success and why the team works so well together. It's because of nights like that and the way everyone gets on the same page.
And how important would it be for you to be the guy who gives him win number 18?
That'd be cool. I mean, and I don't. If it's 19 or 20, that's fine too. Like one of them would be nice. But yeah, it's important. I mean, we expect to go there and be good and be successful. So hopefully this is the year we get a shot at maybe winning the 500. I mean, I think that's what you got to do. Is you got to put yourself in a position every year, and then hopefully one of the years it pays off. You got to go there, and every year you got to give yourself a shot. And if you're there at the end of the race, then hopefully one of those years it'll kind of pan out for you. I mean, like Will's a perfect example. He's been close before, and he's done a great job, but it just a lot of guys have stories that it just didn't work out, right? So, but you got to give yourself that opportunity to potentially win, and then hopefully one year it'll work out.
A lot of the work you've been doing in the off season was about, basically getting the car more settled. We spoke about your test before Christmas at Sebring, and that went well. Do you see that you were missing anything from the super speedway or oval side at all that you needed to work on, or was it just road and particularly street courses?
I think the handling, sort of the feel nuances of the car was more geared towards road and street courses. That's where the car was more sensitive to it. But I think all those elements that we're looking for that the car didn't have, it does apply to the ovals. So I think we make gains on the road and street courses. I think that'll be a gain for us on the ovals as well. We were pretty strong for the most part on the ovals this year, but we had some hit or miss moments. Like I think Texas, we really need to work on. We obviously had some tire troubles there. And then Pocono, we were too spread out as a team. It was like there was too much inconsistency in the cars. But those are things we're all working on. We're putting a lot of emphasis as a group to fix those problems, and we've got the best of the best to figure it out. So, but to answer your question, I think it's more primarily road and street courses is where those big issues were really affecting us, but it will transfer across the board, in my opinion.
And do you know how to make the final third of the Iowa race as strong as the first 2/3?
I have an idea, but it's all going to be different this year with the, now it's night, and so
Yeah.
you're like those little setup decisions. You go, well, if we just did that differently on the setup, we probably would have been fine. But now you can't even do that because the temperature is going to be different. So now you go, okay, it's not a matter of just going back and making that one setup tweak. You have to redo it, because it's going to be a whole different environment. So I think I know where we messed up at Iowa. I don't even want to call it a mess up. I mean, if it was 2/3 of a race, we nailed it. But it's that last stint, we just fell off too much. And so, yeah, we just missed it by a little bit.
You've been, I've seen it, keeping up with Robbie's recovery on Twitter, and how, I don't know, you watching that, how inspiring is that for you? And I know it seems like he'll be on everybody's minds going into the year here.
Dude, it's so cool. I mean, he's doing such a great job. I mean, obviously, I think everyone's trying to keep up with him as best they can. He's doing. He's been very kind. I mean, he's keeping everyone in the loop. I mean, it's not hard to stay up to date with him because he's keeping us up to date. But he's a badass. He's doing a great job and working. I mean, he's a true race car driver. To me, like, that's what you see with these guys. Is it doesn't matter what you put in front of them; they're just going to figure out a way to, get through it and get through it as quickly as possible. And that's what I see his mentality. He's very focused, to get back in the car and do whatever he needs to do. So I think it's awesome. He's doing an incredible job.
So which one of you came up with the bird box video?
I think it was Robbie, actually. I'm pretty sure it was his idea. Because we were talking about it, it was New Year's Eve night. We weren't even going to do anything, and then we decided to watch the movie, and I think he thought of that idea, so we ended up making a little video. It was fun.
How different has this off-season been, kind of going in this year? I think now you're engaged, if I remember right, so congrats on that.
Thanks, man.
I mean, how different is it to also have to manage an IndyCar season coming up, but also try to maybe help out with wedding planning and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's a constant balancing act. Whether it's a wedding or it's something else, it's like you're always trying to, I gotta leave, and I'm gonna be gone for a week, but we got this going on, and it's all part of the career, man. I mean, I think in the racing world, it doesn't even matter if you're a driver, like, whether you're a mechanic or an engineer, like, we all deal with the same process. It's like, we may have plans and they may get canceled at any moment, or they may have to change. So, there's a lot going on. I'm moving, there's a lot happening this year. I don't even want to go into details necessarily, but it's going to be a busy year, but it's no excuse. It's all part of it. We get it every year in some way or form. So.
Is
No bridal showers in
going to
May.
be your best man?
The what?
Is Cindric going to be your best man?
That's a great. Actually, you know what? Tim is a really good best man. I think. I don't know. He's probably not going to be. He's not my best friend, but he would. Don't. I swear.
Twitter's on fire.
Josef Newgarden says Tim Cindric's not his best friend.
TMZ headline.
Out of context, Tim. No, Tim is really good at planning stuff like that, though. In all honesty, if there's an event or if there's something that needs to be celebrated, Tim's one of the best people to go to. He'll have good ideas and he'll be all for it. Yeah. And that's kind of what I like about the team as well, is they take the moments to enjoy what they've done. What is people have told me, they're like, why do it if you don't take a moment to enjoy it whenever you do something or whenever the team has success? So they're the best, I think, group at celebrating the successes of the team and really enjoying it. They're really, really good at that.
Racing question would be,
Just sorry.
I'm the one that asked the one. So
You guys have been in a room too long.
Colors?
Exactly what
Oh, I got these windows. Whenever you've got, obviously 3 veteran drivers, you've got A+ engineers and a lot of resources at your disposal. You talk about maybe missing a little bit on the car this past year. Does it, whenever you have that much information and you know the quality of that information, does it make it that much tougher to figure out which direction to go with everything?
No, I think it helps. If anything, we know the information is quality, which is good. When the drivers say things, I mean, they're normally right. It's where the difficulty comes in is preferences. I think the innate feel of all the guys is 100% correct, and we normally agree with each other all the time. But then you have to take into account this sort of preference side of it, or the description side of it. Simon and me might be saying the same thing, but using completely different terminology. So those are sort of the barriers sometimes we struggle with. I don't know that they're necessarily barriers, but things we have to be aware of. But it helps. I mean, we know the quality of the information is good. We know the people that are working on everything are the best of the best. So I think that makes our jobs easier to figure out. Whenever we have a problem, we can feel confident we can figure things out quicker because of that.
Anything else from Mr. Newgarden?
All right. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.